Hi, I'm Lisa Minogue and I studied the Diploma of Photo Imaging at Fairfield, Melbourne Polytechnic. Yeah, lived on a strawberry farm. Loved photography, would have loved to have studied photography, but back then it was film. It was very expensive. My school was not an art school and it wasn't an opportunity. Then I got married very young. Also wanted to continue looking at photography. Again, we were poor, it was film. So I tried, but it wasn't until digital cameras became available that it was a valid option for me. I never had a career, really. I drifted. I didn't find myself at all. I tried something. I was in the police force for a few years. I've tried everything, nothing fit. The best thing I ever did was become a mother, and that was 16 years ago, and I loved that. I thrived on that. That was everything. But there comes a time when your kids don't need you as much. And I loved photography, and I always used to joke and say that when my kids go to school, I'll go back and study, because I'd never had any sort of qualification, and it bugged me, drove me mad that I didn't have a piece of paper that said I did something or I'd finished something. My husband had it, lots of people I knew had it, and I used to use that as my out. Oh, when the kids go to school, I'll do it. And then eventually the kids were at school, so I had to put my money where my mouth is, and I, eventually enrolled to do that. Done a lot of work for a not-for-profit called The Social Studio, and last year they released a coffee table book, and my images were used on the front cover and inside the book. And to walk into readings in Carlton and to see a book on the shelf with my images on the front was flat out one of the most exceptional experiences of my whole life, because my daughter was with me and she's 16, and for her to see her mum's photos on a book in a bookshop, yeah, there's nothing like it, really, nothing like it. And then one night my husband was taking the dog for a walk. We live in North Fitzroy, and it was 10 o'clock at night, and he said to me, "Get in the car, come down to Alexandra Parade." And I'm like, "What? I've got my pajamas on." No, he goes, "Just doesn't matter, get in the car, it's dark, come anyway." So drove down the end of Alexandra Parade, and on the corner of Alexandra Parade and Queen's Parade, there was a billboard with my photo on it. And I just stood there thinking, there was a part of me that understood it was mine, but it was too big for my brain to accept that was my photo on that billboard on that road. And I just kept pinching myself going, oh my God, that's me. People are going to see that and go, oh wow, how you look at other people's photos, that's mine. So there's moments like that for me are the things that make me, after all these years of living, going, I exist as something now. Every class gave me something that I wouldn't have found on my own. So sure, anyone with a camera can go and be a photographer, but there's things I learnt along the way that I would never have found out on my own. And the other thing Melbourne Poly gave me that that they said in the beginning they would give you, but it's hard to believe until you start, is contact with peers. And you cannot imagine the value of not just the teachers, who are incredible because in their own right they're working professionals, but the people you meet while you're studying are the people that you then go out into the world with, and who they know is then who you know, and your group becomes bigger. How Melbourne Polytechnic was instrumental in helping move forward. The year before I applied to Melbourne Polytechnic, I had a breakdown, a mental health breakdown. But the one thing I knew, I could not give up on my education. It was probably the darkest time of my life, and although I had family that kept me alive, the other thing that absolutely kept me going was knowing that I'd come so far into an education that I'd always wanted, and I refused to give that up. But I couldn't see how could I manage that. So I have always had great relationships with the teachers at Melbourne Poly. I love them, I adore them, I think they're the most magnificent people. Built up a lot of trust, and the person managing the night classes was Chris Hillard. And I'd had occasion before that to talk to him about other personal things, and I just felt that he was someone I could trust. The teacher I had for that 5-hour class I didn't know very well, and he was fantastic, but I knew I needed to share with the school what was happening, so they were aware I wasn't just flaking off all of a sudden. So in a very brave moment, I wrote a very long email to Chris about what was happening, and it was probably one of the most terrifying things I've ever done in my life, having to admit to someone outside of my family what had happened. But the education was so important, and almost immediately I got the most magnificent response back from him saying, "Lisa, it will not matter We will get you through. You tell us what you can do and we will arrange everything else. And it was the one thing I wanted people to know was that at Melbourne Polytechnic, the help is available, the help is there, trust the teachers. And at the end of the speech, a young girl came up to me and she explained she was in Certificate 4 and she'd been going through a really tough year and hadn't told anyone. And she said, I'm going to do it now. And then I introduced her to one of the teachers. I said, just tell them. And that's the thing I don't know about other educational systems, but at Melbourne Polytechnic, firstly, it's the connection to people, but it's the ability to mould the course around your own situations. And as a person with a mental health illness who's really, really well now, I do credit the school with helping me get through that and helping me get through to the end. And I didn't just get through the end, I won Student of the Year award, and now I've won this as well. So, it's an incredible story that I think people should know about. It's what you get there, the richness of the environment there, that why wouldn't you go? You're going to meet people who are not like you, not like people you know, and that's important. But I'm crazy about further education, particularly for older people. It can be daunting. I know the first night I sat in the room, I think there were 12 chairs, but by the end of the first night there was like 30 chairs, and I sat there feeling so irrelevant. People really knew what they were talking about, they knew what they wanted to do, and they could see their path. I was 44 years old. I thought I had no path. All I thought I was doing was filling out information that I didn't, and I couldn't see that I could work now, that there would be a place for me photographically. Because the teachers were of my age or older, or they showed me I'm completely relevant now, and it's that there that you can't replace. You can't get that at other places. Access, you can go there night, you can go there day, friendliness, all of it. Why wouldn't you go there? Crazy not to. For me, Melbourne Polytechnic meant liberation.